My name's Phil. I'm pastor at Smallthorne Community Church. Welcome to our Thrive in 5 this morning. I hope you find it helpful. What I've been thinking about this last day or two is that we're here again, aren't we? We're all locked down just like we were in spring, except this time things are very, very different. The days are short, the weather's not so good, it's cold, miserable and wet. And everybody will be having their own disappointments, things that have happened in your life that have been cancelled. And we've had several this year, including weddings, first birthdays of grandsons, and all these things have been cancelled. But at least everybody is been in the same situation. I just want to cast our minds back to King David, a time before he actually had taken on the throne. And can you imagine how disappointed and low he must have felt when at one time the person that had been anointed king by God's prophet, that had been adored by the people for what he'd done in battle, became completely derailed by the behaviour of the current incumbent, King Saul, who got an obsessive problem with David and was trying to capture him and kill him. And this is what happened to David, and he fled from King Saul and fled to the cave in Adullam. And he probably stayed there as long as 3 or 6 months. And for a short time he was on his own, but it must have been a sort of badly kept secret, because eventually his family found him, and then up to 400 other people joined him there. And that must have been uplifting, except the Message Bible talks about the people that joined him as a crew of losers, vagrants and misfits. And I suppose that motley crew must have reinforced the situation that he was in a difficult time, a difficult place that was perilous, and because he was surrounded by people that drained his energy and any optimism that he had left. So these were desperate times for David. He'd only just escaped capture, and he only just escaped capture by feigning madness. He'd pounded his head on a city gate, he'd foamed at the mouth, and he had spittle in his beard. And because of how he presented himself, his potential captors let him go. And so that's the situation he was when he came and arrived in the cave. Then, to make things worse, a load of losers came to stay with him. But God worked with David and what he had, and he became the leader of this motley crew. And they did things that would amaze both David and the people that were with him. Whilst in the cave, it seems that David wrote several psalms. Psalm 52, Psalm 57, and Psalm 142. And Psalm 142 is very revealing, because it really shows you the worries, anxieties and fears that David had. This is what it says. He says in this psalm, it says, I'm up against it with no exit, bereft, left alone. I cry out, God, call out. You're my last chance, my only hope for life. Oh, listen, please listen. I've never been this low. You can tell from that things were literally hanging on a thread. Yet, that was a low point while he was in the cave in Adullam, but he also wrote some different prose, and we've got that in Psalm 52, for example. So for Psalm 52, verses 8 and 9 go like this. But I am like an olive tree, flourishing in the house of God. I trust in God's unfailing love forever and ever. For what you have done, I will always praise you in the presence of your faithful people, and I will hope in the name, for your name is good. You know, God does some of his best work when we're feeling alone, isolated, and afraid. Because at that time, everything else is stripped away, and we just call upon him and ask him to intervene. And it's during those times he can come close to us, and we can discover that God can work in our lives in ways that would be impossible to imagine if we were in a relationship with God through what Jesus Christ has done through his saving grace. So if you're feeling alone, just hang on in there and realise that we have our Father with us, close by our side. And that knowledge, I'm just praying for each one of you, will become very, very real to us over this time that we're doing lockdown during the late autumn and winter. Have a great day. Try to find something to praise God for today and every day during lockdown, and hopefully it won't last for too long.